I'm working with this artist named Zuhur. It's actually a Pashto song.
Yeah.
And I was like, a Pashto song? You want me to sing in Pashto before I sing in Urdu?
Huh.
Okay, let's go.
Huh.
I was like, he's like, no, actually, I want you to sing in English.
Yeah.
And I was really relieved actually, because for years, you know, I've sat and watched Coke Studio with my mom. I watched Abdul Parveen, Misha
Yeah.
Shafi, Atif Aslam, all these wonderful artists. And I've always wanted to be a part of Coke Studio, but I was nervous and a little bit shy because I am an English speaker, you know,
Absolutely.
and I grew up in America.
Yeah.
But I was actually so honored that, you know, there was space for me in Pakistan, even if I am an English speaker.
Yeah.
I feel like Zulfi, by doing that, is a very, first, a very generous thing, but also an important part of like the culture, and like making sure that we
Absolutely.
don't create any limitations to what the music can be.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know how much Pakistan is actually supposed to be on a global scale rather than just our country. You know,
Yeah.
so it's really exciting.
Yeah. So Rehma, living in LA and you're part of the music scene there.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to sell music as part of Pakistan's culture?
Oh, it's you know, I think a big part of it is that a lot of the families who leave these countries in South Asia, they are leaving because of survival. And
Huh.
that mindset is very prevalent in those areas. And, you know, there's a bit of like this competitive nature, and it's kind of hard to create a career like on music or fashion or acting. And I think those who have to do it have to put their whole life into it. They have to devote everything. And it's important to just represent your community, but in the way you know how, not trying to be anything else.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm never going to be somebody who grew up in Pakistan,
Yeah.
but I am somebody who's Pakistani who grew up in America, and
Yeah.
I think that's the most important lens I can have. You know, it's a
Absolutely.
unique perspective,
And it's a perspective that reflects in your songs and your music as well.
thank you.
But going back a bit, your
Yeah.
grandmother used to work at Radio Pakistan. And
Yes,
she was a
and I didn't even know that until later when I started
Yeah.
making music. My mom was like, "Yeah, no one makes music in the family, but your grandma did," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow."
So you didn't even know that your grandmother used to sing, and yet you were in the profession, and that's so cool.
No, exactly. And actually, I've never had anyone ask me about my grandmother before, so this is really impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
Must be that conversation, you know. And yeah, I didn't know, and I think obviously that influence is probably genetically in there, and I
Yeah.
think it's important, and I think it matters because she was part of something big, like to be part of a radio
Absolutely.
station as a woman
Absolutely.
in Pakistan,
Absolutely.
especially in that time. She's probably making a revolution without even realizing.
You know, Rehma, those times were better.
Were
Those
they?
were better times for Pakistan. For
Really?
women in Pakistan, I feel.
Really?
There was a lot more freedom, a lot more independence. They had a voice that they've kind of lost today. Yeah, so when you started singing, I feel that you wanted that voice to be heard, you know, as a woman, as a South Asian woman. And one of your songs, Ladke, one of the first songs I heard, is with your friend Shia,
Yeah.
who's from India.
Yes, she
Yeah.
is. She's a Indian American artist, and I'm a Pakistani American artist.
Yeah.
So us collaborating was actually an opportunity to, you know, erase that invisible feud that people think that these women have.
Yeah.
First of all, it being two South Asian women in America, I don't think I've ever seen a collaboration like that before.
Yeah.
And second, the unfair double standards that are placed on women in relationships, in life, in accomplishments. Like, women are out here getting degrees, working jobs, being creative,
Yeah.
doing their laundry, cooking, cleaning, doing everything. Well, you know, men only have to carry like a slight bit of that battle, and
And yet they're kind of behave like they're doing it all.
like exactly.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you know, there are people who are doing great things, and there are men who are putting in effort and putting in work. But I think sometimes it's important to talk about the things that people are not doing, because that's
Absolutely.
that's holding more gravity.
Yeah, yeah. It's also important what you're choosing and what you're picking to sing about.
Mhm.
And that's where this song comes in, because it's also throwing light on the Pakhtun culture
Yeah.
and the fact that, you know, the song is welcome.
Mhm.
And it shows this person who's coming from outside Pakistan and being welcomed into their community.
Yeah.
And I saw a bit of the video, and you in that beautiful little perfumery, and you know, I tried to steal one of those bottles actually.
Why did he?
But I was told don't do it. I was like,
I
you
stole
know,
a
they're
whole
not
radio,
even.
so.
Yeah, I should have done it. I should have done it. I was
Sumaya was like, "Don't show me, don't show me,"
yeah,
and
I was like, you know, they're not gonna know, and I can just get away with one little bottle. But it's like, nah. But that beautiful set, and you know, the entire culture kind of unfolds in front of you,
exactly, yeah,
and it takes you through, and then the dancers, and then the rain.
right.
Now, how difficult was that video to shoot?
I think it's difficult for everybody because it's like a long process to be able to stand on set for this many hours and do everything. But I think the beauty of everything was that even though it was difficult, somehow the energy was alive through the whole thing. There were so many special moments where, like, for example, in the perfume shop, I was talking to Zulfi Bhai about it, and I was like, this literally feels like my room at home. You know, when you're in America, you're not in Pakistan, so you have to hold on to your little traditions that you have, like the rosemary and the crystals and everything. So actually, when I mentioned that it looks like my room and I actually have a bunch of these crystals in there, I showed him in my bag. Like, I ran to my bag across the set and I was like, look, these are crystals that I have like in my bag. I charged them at night and it looks like that room in there, like I promised. So actually Hashim, the production designer, the next day like brought a bunch of crystals and like put them in my room for the perfume shop. Little things like that are what make artists feel comfortable and safe on set. And even just the idea of me being welcomed into the Pashtun culture, you know, that's a big part of this song. Is like, I didn't want to occupy too much space. I just wanted to add to it. I just wanted to celebrate something that was already happening, and that is the Pashtun culture. And I'm very grateful that Zohor is so talented and fleshed it out and was able to like educate everybody on what the Pashtun culture is about. So
I mean, you guys sounded amazing. What was the brief that was given to you?
It was very simple yet stunning. I'll say it like that. Really just explaining, oh, this is what Pashtun culture is about. It's about welcoming people, open arms, and I think there's this stereotype and these weird pressures that Pashtun people act like this or supposed to become this. So it's almost like, hey, no matter what language you speak, no matter how much time goes by or what kind of space we have between us, you can't stop the force of love. And I don't even think that's specific to Pashtun culture, but a universal message. So the fact that I get to see Pashtun people representing that is a very important moment in time, I feel like.
Absolutely.
I'm really grateful to be a part of that, even just a glimpse of it, you know?
Yeah. I can see you're really well connected to your roots. And, you know, I've met your mother and I can see that bond with Pakistan, although you've come for the first time. Do you feel any of that connection now that you're here?
Yes, actually.
Or do you feel like an alien in an unknown sort of land?
I don't feel like an alien, but you would assume that somebody who's coming from so far away would feel like an alien. But I was explaining this to my sister and my mom. When I landed, I actually felt very emotional because it feels like oddly familiar. But new at once. So it's crazy. Why is everyone so welcoming here? I don't know. It's like no matter all the hurt, all the pressure people have gone through, they still made diamonds and they still move with love and welcome you. This is not something that happens in America. You know, our communities aren't welcomed everywhere. So this is emotional for me because I feel safe here. Really safe, actually.
That's really ironic.
Yeah, right? Because most people would assume, oh, she's an American girl. She's not going to get it. But actually, it made me feel validated in everything that I fight for in America, and all the voices that I'm trying to uplift over there makes sense now. It's like, of course, my mother grew up in this town. Like, this is the kind of world she grew up in. This is why I'm the way I am. And this is why my sisters are the way they are, my brother. Like, makes sense, you know? Yeah.
You know,